happening, people? Welcome to United View. I just had to give my thoughts basically on what happened earlier on with Mason Greenwood's potential return to Manchester United. I thought Owen did really well earlier on tackling the subject. And we've always said here on United View that when the clubs speak, we will speak. And I've always maintained the type of environment I wanted United View to be, to protect people, to make people feel comfortable as well. And to do that. So yeah, Owen, first of all, I wanted to say that Owen done a really good job of that. I saw in the comments that people are going to have opinions. Some people's opinions are going to clash with other people's opinions. That is what things like this do. But I thought he done really well. And anyone sort of trying to dig out Owen to, get onto him, I think is ridiculous. So that was top stuff from Owen and everyone else who got involved. But look, here's my thing on it. I think if we look at the club statement from earlier, and obviously stuff that's come out from the Athletic prior to that statement, it looked like it certainly looks like that Greenwood's going to be coming back. I think it's clear to see that. Just from when I was looking at the statement, the bit that drew its attention to me was the fact that they've obviously looked at the side that says, where is it? Right here, let me get my facts straight. We also have responsibilities to Mason as an employee, as a young person who has been with the club since the age of 7, and as a new father with a partner. So they're putting that in there for a reason, to suggest, that's how I read it. Let me know how you guys read it. To suggest that he's coming back. And look, here's my stance on it. Me personally, I wouldn't have made that decision to bring him back. And I know some people don't agree with that. A lot of you don't agree with that. To me, I'm uncomfortable with the fact that the message that sends about the morals of the football club, and there are real life victims out here who have to deal with this every single day that aren't anything to do with footballers. This is people's experiences. This is people's real life experiences that this happens to, and I think it's basically saying that, well, that's okay within a football term. That's okay. And me personally, I'm not for that. So I wouldn't have brought him back. Also, what I would encourage everyone to do, well, I say everyone, people who think maybe, well, he's back with his partner, they've moved on. Why don't you? Because I know that's a very common message out there. But that's the other thing. It went to court. He got found innocent. Well, again, in a court of law, to be found innocent, you need to be tried. A jury needs to look at the evidence and then go off and deliberate, and then come back and present those findings based upon what evidence they were given. And this case didn't get that far for a multitude of reasons. So, of course, you can say it's true that he wasn't actually proved guilty, but don't use that as a fact to say that actually it means he's innocent, because he also hasn't gone through the process to prove his innocence. The CPS have clearly looked at the case and said, you know what, there's not, given the lack of evidence and given witnesses dropping out, etc., going to court isn't going to be the right thing for us to do, because we're not going to be able to prove this. And actually, very, very few cases of this nature, end in a conviction. That is why victims don't speak up. That is why victims don't even bother reporting things like this. And also, as well, in my opinion, victims who choose to take a different path of how they deal with their trauma often do end up getting back with somebody who has abused them. That is a fact. And look, I'm talking from experience in terms of I've worked and been in situations within my life, within my professional life, way before I started presenting and doing this sort of job, where I worked with vulnerable people, vulnerable young adults, vulnerable young children. And I've seen a lot and I've learned a lot. So my perspective can be different to a lot of other people's perspective. I completely understand that. I know people who live this every single day. And I know that makes other people say, oh, well, what, you're just going to believe somebody, you don't know the full side of Mason's situation. And I think the difference in this case is because this was played out in public. There was bits of evidence that we clearly heard, things that we clearly saw, that for me, I can't unsee. So I didn't like what happened yesterday, not yesterday, a few days ago, whereby people, it seemed as though some sections of the media and certain pieces that had been written were sort of pinning this on the women's team to say that, they haven't been consulted yet, so the decision lies on them. That was later cleared out, because I think it's important that we don't make women we don't make women the perpetrators here, so look, in my how I read the statement, I think he's going to come back to the football club. And when he does, / if he does, but I think he will, I would just urge people to remember that this is real life. That there are people out here living with these experiences, the same way. And I get it. Other people are going to say the same way. There are also men who get accused of things that they haven't done. And that is something to think about as well. I understand that. I get that. And I also understand that, there's going to be other people that have been through other experiences that may shape the way that they feel. All I can do is give you my honest opinion, having said at the time when I will give you my honest opinion. And I think that time is now, because the club have spoken. And look, this isn't a definite as well, by the way. This is just, more than solid reports coming out suggesting that Mason Green was going to come back, and more than solid reports coming out suggesting that a decision is coming, and that a decision was planned before, didn't quite go through with it, and now they've changed their minds on that, and they're gonna come and tell us what their findings are. You never know, that things can change. Maybe they don't bring him back. But how I read the statement, and also they said that this is drawn on extensive evidence and context not in the public domain, and we have heard from numerous people with direct involvement or knowledge of the case. The way I interpret that is obviously speaking to the family involved, the victim involved, Mason Greenwood himself, etc., etc. Obviously, police, and the bit where it says their findings are going to be the investigation has basically been drawn on extensive evidence and context, not in the public domain. Basically saying there's stuff that we don't know. And look, there are always going to be things that we don't know, but it still, for me, doesn't undo the things that we do know. And I feel uncomfortable personally as a male, kind of given a pass, because if this was a different player who did this, i.e. not from our academy, i.e. he doesn't have fantastic footballing ability, my question is, what would the perception be? And again, I understand there's loads of opinions out there, but if he wasn't very good, would this opinion still stand? How is it going to look when he comes back? What message does it send to other employees within Manchester United? What message does it send to other females? What message does it send to youngsters? Now, you may think that it sends the message of that if you do something wrong, you can be forgiven, and then there's second chances, etc., etc. That's fine. You can see it like that as your opinion, but I see it as it kind of gives it a pass, man, and I'm not for it. And like I said, for me personally, I know people who, I've seen it. I know people, and they know that I've got them. You know what I mean? I've got their backs, and it's not until you go through seeing people who go through this to see what they actually have to contend with. And me, after experiencing that, I can't be okay with that. But as and when it does happen, again, we'll speak about it. And when it does, I'm just urging people to be respectful of people who have lived this experience. This is a different case. There are thousands and thousands of these types of cases. I was doing a little bit of research, and 6.5 million women in England and Wales have been raped or sexually assaulted since the age of 16. This is from the UK government. It's all there. Some of the statistics are staggering. The amount of people who have been, raped or sexually assaulted or sexually abused, 1 in 4 women. That's 6.54 million women in total that have. So the chances are you will know somebody, you will know a female, somebody close to you may have experienced this and could have been silent the whole time. You don't know. But I'm just urging people, however you think about this situation, especially if you're of an opinion that you think it's bygones be bygones and move on, just maybe take a bit out to you know, to think about the 6.54 million women that I just spoke about, you know. So that's my opinion on it. There's going to be a lot of you in the comments that, you know, completely disagree with me and may think less of me because of this is my opinion. And that's, you know, that's not something I'm going to apologize for, because that's my opinion. That's how I see this. If I saw you in the street, if I saw you in the barbershop, if I see you at a game and you ask me this is what I would say. And and also I just want to clear up as well. I have been abstaining, you know, really from talking about this through Twitter, X, through Instagram, because clearly, as we've seen, it's such a polarizing topic. People misconstrue your words. Also, you try and have a constructive kind of conversation with people about this online, and it just doesn't work. And I think, you know, the best way for me to address this was always going to be in this format. So my words can't be misconstrued, can't be misquoted. People don't maybe not understand what I mean. And also by doing this, I'm not assuming that, I'm not naive enough to think everyone's going to agree. Not everyone will agree. Not everyone will agree. But even what I've seen online, I've seen women have to literally vigorously defend themselves against people piling in on them. Oh, you this and you that. Let's not do that as well. Let's not make women, like I said, vilified out there in social media for their opinion on this. But let's not do that. Have your opinion, and that's fine. And I'm not gonna make you try to change your opinion. I'm just giving you mine and telling you how I see the situation, where I stand. And on a bigger scale, in this community, on the United View, like I say, we're our football channel, we're a Manchester United fan channel, and I put my all into making it a place where, you know, United fans can all come, of all colours and creeds and genders and ages and demographics, can come and talk about the club that we love. But when things like this happen, there are things that are bigger than football, and there are things that are bigger than trying to keep up appearance of, you know, getting views and getting likes and, you know, letting everyone agree with you. Sometimes you have to speak about the good and the bad, the right and the wrong. And I'm not afraid to do that in the right capacity, in the proper environment, which is what I'm doing now. So yeah, if you don't see me talking about it on Twitter / Instagram, etc., it's because of the reasons that I've just said. I don't think it's the right arena for it, because I've seen people that I know be absolutely, you know, sent for, you know, to the point where some people cancelling their accounts, some people feeling, you know, like they've been made out to be, you know, the baddies, and it's wrong. So I abstain from that, and whatever I say about this will be here. You will see it here. So that's what I think. Feel free to leave your comments in the video. Please make sure they're respectful, whether you agree with me or disagree with me. And remember that United View is going to continue to speak when the club speaks. We've always maintained that from the start of this Mason Greenwood situation all the way through to now, and have obviously left comments open. Owen did a live stream earlier where people could have their say and have their comments, because I said that's what we would do. It's not like we're getting to this and saying, oh, let's not talk about it, etc. We're too scared to talk about it. No, out of protection of others and out of people who may have, you know, been through this, and this is very triggering, and on both sides, we decided as a channel that was how we were going to see this through. And some of you didn't agree with that, and I understand that, but I'm always going to, you know, run the United View as its creator, with these morals and values in hand. And that's whether it's something like this, whether it's racism, whether it's discrimination in any other way, or whatever the issue may be. But in this case, it is abuse, sexual abuse at that. So that's my piece. Let me know what you guys think, and we will next speak about this when there is a final decision, because it looks like, as this is finished, there will be a final decision at some point. It looks like it's coming. Like I said, I've got my opinion on where I think it's going to go, but when that final decision is out, we will talk about it further. So yeah, guys, I'll see you again soon. Take care. Peace.